So, you like this, and this, and this, do ya? I really like Charizard and its merch, but other Pokemon deserve love too. And wow, I literally just can't believe how awful the state of the Pokemon TCG is at the moment. People are clowning on our hobby because people have decided to put an obscene amount of worth in these cards to the point where actual people with lives cannot simply walk into the store and buy a pack of cards. They are now in these kiosks, and a majority of the time, they're cleaned out. Why does Charizard have to be so popular? There are plenty of other Pokemon I could argue that would wipe the floor with this guy, and it's not even— Okay, this video has been off to a really ranty start. My bad. The point of this video being is why you should go after some of the other cards, or at least leave the other cards to the rest of us. Some of the most popular content on YouTube, Pokemon-wise, happens to be card pack openings and destruction, specifically. The real issue is, say it with me now, the scalpers! These people are actual adults that want to make a quick buck by buying copious amounts of card packs and then reselling the high cards online. This makes it difficult for people like you or me to collect for fun. It becomes a hunt, and an aggressive one at that. Logically, I understand why Charizard is like the most popular Pokemon after Pikachu. He looks badass, and his long-standing run in the anime are absolute no-brainers when it comes to his popularity. But why do people insist on making him the star to the point where no one can actually enjoy the cards anymore? It's a trading card game, not selling my kidney for a single card game. Pokemon has always had that spirit of catching them all, and yes, while Charizard is highly sought after due to his popularity, he is one of about, let's see here, 1,024 other Pokemon? Bro even got 2 Mega Evolutions. I don't hate Charizard by any means whatsoever, but I do think he's overrated. Just a little bit. I also just strongly dislike those that scalp to make money off of his existence. So, back to the actual video, what are some other cards that I think could rival some of the art of these Charizard cards? Not that they'd ever be as popular, and I get that, but here is a list of some sets and some cards that give a run for Charizard's stealing candy from baby's blood money. Thanks to TitanCards.co and PokeCollector.com for the resources to make this video. English base set. The OG, released in 1999. Of course, this one's an absolute classic. A slightly awkward action pose that makes it look like Charizard needs a neck massage. Zapdos. The pose is sick, and it's a legendary. Duh. Machamp. A similarly cool action pose, and the background is better in my opinion. Beedrill. Beedrill looks ready to strike, and the composition is so nice. Team Rocket set, 2000. Dark Charizard is actually pretty sick here, and I have the pleasure of actually owning one. I like the over-the-shoulder pose. Dark Rapidash. The flame swirling and framing Rapidash is peak Dark Golduck. I know this guy isn't popular, but dude, look at the art on this thing. The pose is so dynamic, and how the water wakes with the power and glow of the headbeam is awesome. Dark Gyarados. A classic. It's a menace and looks amazingly manic. Expedition set, 2002. The e-reader cards were really neat. My favorite set was Skyridge, and that Charizard looks rad. But for the Expedition, low-key, despite this Charizard being nearly $400, this one looks goofy as heck. There is another card, and honestly, this one's tough to beat out of the rest. Dragonite. Also an expensive card, but definitely deserves more than the Charizard here. It has a similar pose, but is way more cute than Charizard. Feraligatr. I love cards that show Pokemon doing what they'd be normally doing. The swim pose is pretty awesome. And Rapidash. Again. EX Crystal Guardians 2006. Part of the Ruby and Sapphire series, this Charizard's only positive is the Delta species gimmick. It being an electric type is neat for sure, otherwise the pose is pretty generic. Blastoise. The downshot and high contrast make this one more dynamic. Charmeleon. Dude, even the Prevo looks better in this set than Charizard. The over-the-shoulder pose works so well. Lotad. Even cards like Lotad, I just feel have more storytelling to them than the Charizard. Though not cool, technically, I think the art is better executed. Diamond and Pearl Platinum Arceus 2009. I didn't know Graphics Bloom made its way into cards too. But honestly, the pose on this one is really nice and dynamic, and the shading quality is expert. Luxray. Immediately coming out swinging, the pose is more dynamic, and every limb looks like it has a purpose and shows off this Pokemon's form really well. Sceptile. In action, felling a tree. This Pokemon is strong and the card shows it. Arceus. This specific Arceus card in the set really shows off the design. Black and White Plasma Storm 2013. Honestly, a lot of the Black and White Charizard cards are really incredible, I can't even lie. Even the first appearance of Shiny Charizard makes its debut in Plasma Storm. For nearly $600 though? I don't know about this one, Chief. White and Black Kyurem. This one's a twofer, but dude, can you blame me? The way that they're popping out of frame and all of the really intricate details just make me love these cards way too much. And they're of course paired. It's beautiful. Lugia EX. Even something like this Lugia, it has a similar pose, but the art style it was created and rendered in is just visually more interesting to me. Okay, I just want to take a little break to say that if I included every single instance of Charizard in every expansion, the video would be way too long. Are there any I've missed so far that you love? Let me know in the comments so I can make another video on the topic. X and Y Flashfire 2014. Flashfire was pretty crazy with it. These cards honestly rival for the spot in the best in these packs, but I'm still gonna try to make my case anyway. EX cards are kinda hard to beat. Kangaskhan EX. This specific one is pretty solid. I like the pose and the determination in its eyes. Druddigon. You know, if this one was given the EX treatment, I'd say it beats out the other Charizards by a large sum. However, in its current state, all I can say is that the art is stellar, but full art cards just kinda take the dub. Toxicroak EX. This guy is reaching out towards the audience, and I just think that's cool as heck. The colors are nicely cohesive, and he looks ready for a battle. Okay, honestly, this is the era of Charizards. I do get why they're so popular, but I think it's at the expense of others at this point. That kind of sucks. Sun and Moon Burning Shadows 2017. Now, if we're being honest with ourselves, the only reason why this Charizard is popular is the Rainbow Hollow effect, which, granted, if I had one, I would absolutely be flipping out, but like, the other ones are also just as good quality-wise. I'd even argue that the Darkrai version or the Noivern is just as cool, but their popularity dictates that they go for $10 to $30, while Charizard stays at a hot $300. Darkrai GX. I don't know about you, but I just think legendary Pokemon are cooler. The glow effect adds a lot, and the pose is pretty menacing. Necrozma GX. Pretty much the same exact pose as Charizard. This one just matches the energy, but doesn't necessarily surpass it. I don't think Charizard has a leg up on this one either. Gardevoir GX. A new type of Pokemon that could be considered rare in the GX or coolness category. I like seeing the love that they put into more traditionally cute or quote-unquote feminine Pokemon. Sword and Shield Darkness Ablaze 2020. A great lineup for sure. Let's see what we can come up with though. Scizor V. A more compelling action pose and a uniquely fitting background that frames it perfectly. Houndoom V. The snarl on this guy absolutely makes it. He looks meaner, fiercer, and ready to torch his opponents. Butterfree VMAX. This is such a pretty card. The colors look like this Butterfree's in space, and it looks so ethereal framed this way. Sword and Shield Brilliant Stars 2022. The Charizard V1 looks so good, but this Charizard V, having this battle on a full art card is just the best. It's mind-blowing. You know, speaking of the game itself, it's a shame that TCG is so heavy on the luck-based systems. A revamped version of the TCG with more in-depth mechanics and planning would go unbelievably hard with cards like this. Otherwise, it's a nice showpiece for sure. Moltres. Another example of a regular Pokemon card that would absolutely beat out the competition if given the full art treatment. Just as striking as Charizard V, but not given the same space to thrive. Better background too, in my opinion. Arceus V. The mythical of all mythical pulls right here. It is literally Arceus, or Arceus, for all of you well-informed trainers out there, with could only be described as the creation of the universe. Magnificent. Electivire. What's with this more basic cards getting stellar art while the V and VMAX cards suffer? The Electivire is absolutely stunning. Paldean Fates 2024. This is the last one I'll be leaving off with. As the years have gone by, the sheer volume of expansions have grown, and the number of Pokemon from 151 to 1025. What a beautiful feat. Gardevoir EX. Gardevoir again goes toe-to-toe with Charizard. Similarly shiny, I think Gardevoir's card has a better environment and we can actually see most of its form. The posing is very elegant. Magmortar. The balance of color on this one is masterful. Palafin. This card makes Palafin look actually terrifying. It's rare Pokemon cards that do so cinematically, but here we are. Okay, which cards do you like that I missed? And do you have any of the cards that I mentioned? Flex off in the comments below and let me know what I can do to improve my videos in the future. Keep on training!